Hey, yo, man, we back, right, with another one. So in this episode, Goku takes over the planet Earth, and this will be part 8 of what if Frieza was raised by Goku? What if Goku was raised by Frieza, right? So, I also gotta say, man, y'all killed it on the last part, man. We hit 3,300 views. I think it's actually at 3,400 now, man. I had 119 likes, and I just want to say I appreciate all the support and the encouraging comments, right? So I'd have Bulma blow a kiss to y'all, man. I appreciate it, right? So let's remind y'all with a recap of the last part. So Goku, who would be called Kakarot in this scenario, I'm going to use the words interchangeably anyway. So Goku, who would be called Kakarot in this scenario, arrives on the planet Earth after successfully overthrowing Lord Frieza and becoming the new emperor of the universe. And he went there out of curiosity because it was the original destination his parents wanted to send his space pod. Upon landing on the planet Earth, he finds cities in ruins because the Demon King Piccolo had taken over the Earth and bumped off all the Z fighters, one by one, leaving only Bulma, who is in despair. Out of desperation, Bulma and Dr. Gero form a last resistance coalition where they team up against King Piccolo, Jivo, aka Android 16, who we'll be calling Cyborg 16 to differentiate the two. Anyway, Jivo, aka Android 16, volunteered his body for cybernetic enhancements. This is Jivo. For cybernetic enhancements, so he becomes Android 16. But in this verse, we'll call him Cyborg 16 because he's still alive and not a full robot, like in Canon Universe 7. So anyway, Cyborg 16. But before 16 could defeat King Piccolo, Lord Slug arrived on the planet Earth and formed an alliance with the Demon Clan, with the deal being that Piccolo could remain the king of this Earth if he had one of his children begin to make some new sets of Dragon Balls to give eternal youth to Lord Slug. Eventually, so they make an alliance, and eventually King Piccolo captures Bulma and plans on executing her publicly on camera. But at this moment, Goku arrives on the scene, wanting to take out the leader of the Demon Clan. Eventually, Goku ends up facing off against Lord Slug as well. Defeating both of the Namekians easily, that is, until Lord Slug offers his body for a Namekian fusion, which transfers all his latent potential into King Piccolo, making him a Super Namekian. After that, a fierce battle ensues between Super Saiyan Kakarot and Super Namekian Piccolo. Goku uses up all his energy because he has not mastered the Super Saiyan form. So Kami uses his telepathy to communicate with him on an idea on how to defeat King Piccolo. So Cyborg 16 distracts King Piccolo, and Kami tells Goku about the Room of Spirit and Time, and Goku uses the remaining amount of his energy to push King Piccolo into the Room of Spirit and Time and blast the door, trapping him in there eternally. I left out some details, but y'all can go watch the last part for the full context. It was a good video, man. It went up. Y'all ran that video up. Once again, I want to say thank y'all for that, right? 3,300 views. I think it's at 3,400 now, right? And 119 likes. See if I can run this one up too. So anyway, let's get to it, man. Let's see what Goku does on the planet Earth after securing another victory. Right? Kami gives Goku a Senzu beam that he got from Korin as a thank you, which heals his broken arm and replenishes his energy. Kakarot hardens his expression and asks for a full story on what happened to the planet and who is he talking to. Kami then explains King Piccolo's return and how he stepped on Earth's best fighters, except Mr. Popo, Mr. Popo the GOAT, and destroys the Dragon Ball. And he destroyed the Dragon Balls. Kami also explains that he is the Earth's guardian. Kakarot scolds Kami on being an incompetent guardian who has gotten old and weak over the years, and that if he was smart, he could have A, got eternal youth first before Piccolo, or B, trained to become stronger than Piccolo while he was sealed up, while he was locked up. Kami simply sweats at the blunt words of the alien warrior. Kakarot's demeaning verbal assault was interrupted by an angry Bulma, who was yelling at Kakarot for leaving her behind enemy lines for a fight. Kakarot looks at the blue net confused and intrigued by the boldness of this weak earthling female. Kakarot decides to ignore the raging woman and plots his next move. Goku puts on a scouter to contact his army on his victory, and Bulma watches the Saiyan communicate through his alien technology with a look of confusion on her face. Zarbon informs Kakarot that the Demon Clan and Slug's army have been squad wiped, and Kakarot says excellent and tells him to rally above his location. Shadows appear on the lookout as Bulma looks up to see an army of aliens surrounding them. Goku hovers to meet the army. Goku congratulates his army for the success, but Zarbon tells Kakarot that there is one problem that happened during their conflict. Kakarot and Zarbon land back on the lookout, and Kakarot crosses his arms in annoyance before telling Zarbon to explain the predicament. Zarbon informs Kakarot that Slug's lieutenants heavily damaged their main spaceship. Zarbon timidly tells his Lord Kakarot that the damages were quite severe and that they didn't bring any mechanics along with them. Bulma ties her hair back before she confidently hops into the conversation by claiming she can definitely fix their ship and that she welcomes the challenge since it no doubt has new technology she can learn from. Zarbon looks over at the blue net before asking her who she is, and that's when Kakarot learns that the Earthling's name is Bulma, and that she comes from a family of mechanical geniuses. Kakarot's ears tingle hearing that, so he approaches Bulma differently, seeing her now as a potential asset to his empire. Kami watches on in silence as Kakarot offers to take Bulma to the mothership. Zarbon flies off towards the ship, and Goku grabs hold of Bulma, causing a blush to form on the blue net's face, while Kakarot simply looks at her and says, "We'll get there faster this way." Bulma looks at Frieza's former spaceship from a distance, admiring its hardware before preparing to get started on repairs. After a while of waiting on Bulma's maintenance, Goku is approached by a middle-aged man who looked like he was in desperate need of a barber. Dr. Gero needs to just let that badger skin on the back of his head go, man. But anyway, Goku also notices that the middle-aged man beside him was a stoic green giant, who we know to be Cyborg 16, and judging by the looks of their faces, they didn't seem friendly. Kakarot begins to flare his aura up, expecting a scuffle, which causes 16 to analyze his energy level on his sensors. But suddenly the tension in the air dissipates at the emergent appearance of Bulma, who came outside to inform Kakarot that her work on his ship was done, and upon doing so, she notices the Doctor and Cyborg 16, which causes her to wave at her former colleagues. Bulma introduces the party of four to one another, sharing their names and whatnot, but Dr. Gero simply looks at her with disappointment, asking Bulma how could she help out an alien invader after all their planet has been through. Dr. Gero boldly states that he will never align himself with Kakarot, and that the Earth doesn't need another alien emperor like King Piccolo, and he can't be trusted. Silence follows and expressions change, but Kakarot remains indifferent to Gero's comments, and Bulma is conflicted with where she should stand. Suddenly, though, Gero is startled by the cheers of civilian Earthlings, happy that the Saiyan defeated King Piccolo. Kakarot himself is surprised by the reaction, being so used to locals fearing him under his service to Lord Frieza. You see, a lot of Earthling civilians watched King Piccolo's broadcast when he planned on executing Bulma live on camera when Kakarot appeared and challenged the Demon King with the camera still rolling. Kakarot is found swirling with new emotions as the crowd cheers for him, because he expected he would have to establish his rule through fear due to his upbringing. He frowns, remembering the conditioning of Lord Frieza, who turned him into a murder machine, accepting more missions than his contemporaries because of his lust for battle and improvement. Purging planets for the tyrant, even if he simply pointed at the world's direction with a finger. Kakarot forms an image in his mind of what he could have become, or what he could become in the universe. Just another Frieza, But then he thinks to himself, he can become something and someone greater. Kakarot smiles as he faces the crowd and declares to himself that he will be better than Frieza in all ways, and he will make the universe desire to improve just like himself. Eventually, Kakarot sits on his hovering throne like Frieza used to do, knowing that there is work needed to be done. Dr. Gero says under his breath that the war isn't over as he walks away with Cyborg 16. Right? So now we're going to have a time skip to 1 year later. So what has happened since Kakarot has made Earth his main headquarters as Emperor of the Universe? Well, Kakarot informs all of his subordinates that their new task is improvement on all fronts and all fields. Planetary improvement, self-improvement, technological improvement, relations improvement, right? Things of that nature. He has his soldiers clean up the ruined cities. He makes his own soldiers train in combat and not just rely on blasters like Frieza previously had his low-level troops doing. He also has those same ray gun blasters introduced to the Earthling police population as an upgrade from their handguns. Kakarot also trains with Zarbon and Dodoria and Qui, telling them that he will not allow weak lieutenants in his army, complacent with their current strength. Goku also revisited the Namekians, wanting them to help out Kami on rebuilding and improving the Dragon Balls. He also stationed Qui and some soldiers there to protect them from potential threats. Dende follows Kakarot back to the Earth and helps Kami rebuild the Dragon Balls, making them now able to grant 2 wishes instead of 1. Kakarot then summons Shenron to grant his wish request. His first wish was to bring back everyone Piccolo and his army killed, and his second wish was to revive everyone he himself destroyed for a clean slate when he was Frieza's soldier. So everyone that he defeated as Frieza's soldiers under Frieza's orders, he had them revived as well, bringing back whole civilizations of planets that he had once purged as a final middle finger to Frieza. After his wish, he was periodically visited by the fighters that were unalived by Piccolo. The first visitor was Krillin, followed by Tien and Chaozu. He even had a conversation with Master Roshi, learning some wisdom, as he did with Guru on Namek and Pibara on Yardrat, seeing the value in wise elders' words and techniques. The last warrior to visit Kakarot was none other than Yamcha, who was rejected by Bulma in continuing their relationship. Kakarot didn't really care about the interaction, but Yamcha felt like Kakarot had pushed Bulma away from him, even though they weren't even dating like that. However, Bulma had developed an interesting relationship with the Saiyan King, seeing him as a friend that introduced her into to a new world. Yamcha sulks in the alley after his breakup, and he is approached by Dr. Gero, who makes a proposition for him. Oh man, right? Also, Goku introduces Bulma's father, Dr. Briefs, to his best scientist, Kikino. Kikino, for those of you that don't know, Kikino was a brilliant scientist who served under Frieza. He made most of Frieza's equipment, the spaceships, the space armor, the scouters, all that, right? Goku focuses on improving. Oh, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, Bulma creates an even more advanced gravity room than in the canon Universe 7 because of Frieza's technology from Kakarot. Kakarot focuses on improving his Super Saiyan transformation after remembering that he ran out of energy against King Piccolo. He believes he can push Super Saiyan further. And in that year, Kakarot was actually able to achieve Super Saiyan 1 Grade 2, which is like Super Vegeta against Semi-Perfect Cell. All right, like Super Vegeta, he got Super Saiyan 1 Grade 2. And elsewhere, after the year, a new ship appears. It's revealed to be the young warrior Trunks, who has landed in Kakarot's timeline with heart medication and the intention of warning Goku about the android's future attack. But after exiting his ship, Trunks is met with alien soldiers in Saiyan armor, confusing Trunks and causing Trunks to think that maybe he's in a completely different timeline than the one his mother told him about. And that's going to be interesting later. I think comment some ideas on that and what could transpire. Meanwhile, somewhere else on another planet, King Cold has the planet Earth in his sights as he plans to overthrow Kakarot from his throne and avenge his fallen son Frieza. The next episode, we will have the Battle of Kings, King Kakarot versus King Cold for the Universal Throne. And that will be the end of this video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little slow, I know. Not a lot of action. We really set things up for future arcs. And a lot can happen to come. A lot can happen to come from what happened, right? Because we got a lot going on. We got Yamcha following Dr. Gero. We got Trunks landing in a totally different timeline, coming across Kakarot's soldiers. And we got King Cold coming to visit the Earth. So hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, man. Trying to get this channel monetized. Let's get it. All right. Thank you for all the support. I'm out. Peace.